All right, so the guy that I'm staying with, I keep wanting to say my roommate, and we both live in the same room, so that's kind of a decent description, but I'm not paying any of the bills. This isn't my house. I'm mostly eating his food. He's doing a lot for me. There are a lot of people who have done a lot for me in that way. Um, Shannon Alvarado, I ate her food and lived under her roof. My dad, not so much. I mean, I did sort of live under his roof, but for the most part, I lived out in the Jeep because my dad's a screamer. Uh, I am downstairs, whereas the last video that I just got finished with, I was upstairs for that one. I'd like to sit down with the evidence and show it to you all, but at this point, I'm pretty tired and pretty friggin' cold. This is the only room in the house with heat. It's a it's a little electric heater that is about the same dimensions as my computer here. So it's not exactly warming up the whole room even. Um, we got some sunshine today, but it wasn't enough to melt off all the snow. And we didn't get very much snow. It was only maybe a quarter of an inch or so, just enough for ground cover. Um, but as the day progresses or night progresses, it becomes too cold for the heater to keep up with it. So I wear a jacket in the house, as you guys can see in all of my videos. You don't see me wearing a t-shirt in any of my videos here. In the summertime, it's going to get really hot. There's no air conditioner here either. Um, there's a busted air conditioner outside. In order to get the evidence that I've been denied, I have to go to the very place that I had to flee. For my own safety, I had to leave the state of Colorado because public pretenders wouldn't do their jobs. Police officers wouldn't do their jobs. Going to mental health facilities and telling on those places, and then being told that I'm a liar, and then the very same things that they did to me, that people called me a liar for saying, they killed a man doing those things. Clearview Behavioral Health killed a man doing the things they did to me. Also, keeping people for longer than they should have. They were already in trouble for keeping people longer than they should have. Something else that I had spoken out about. All they were doing was trying to drag it out to get more money, more funding, just like the jails. Where the hell is the ashtray? Fuck it. Um, there's one. It looks like a cup. When you have assault against a police officer on your arrest record, despite the fact that those charges were dropped, I was assaulted by Officer Waylon Lolatai. And if you look his name up on the internet, I'm going to type it over here on the side, matter of fact. This is a name I want you to look up. Waylonloltai. I also want you to look up Clearview, Clearview Behavioral Health. If you look those places up, on the internet, you'll see, number one, that they had a history of doing these things. Both Wayland Lolotai and Clearview Behavioral Health had a history of doing these things. You'll also notice that my phone call between myself and the public pretender's offices showed that the DA and my public pretenders made zero effort to get the body cameras from those officers. That's because the body cameras would have sealed the fate of those officers. Not just Officer Wayland Lolotai, but also Officer Herr and Officer, what was her name? Vanderleest. Now, one of the lists that I have upstairs, it has literally hundreds of names on it. That's just one list of witnesses. A lot of people saw the harassment and threats against me in these Facebook groups. A lot of people were actually informing me of the harassment in these Facebook groups. And all of these people who said, I wish there was something I could do. I wish there was something I could do. Well, there is. You can come forward in public about what you know, about what you saw. You could have taken screenshots in these other groups before they were able to take the slander out of there, take the threats out of there. When people were sending me screenshots of people like Tim Beeson threatening to put me in the ground, that's what that incident was over. I'd already taken quite a few days worth of abuse in Boulder over Natalie dying, because I was never allowed to defend myself, because I didn't have help, because the term mentally ill makes it so that it's justified for them not to look into it. Whereas on paper, abusing a mentally ill or mentally disabled or physically disabled person, whether they are a child or an adult, is a felony. Every officer who assaulted me committed a felony, but they also got away with it for the same reason that it's a felony. It's illegal for you to harm somebody who is mentally ill. But also, you don't have to take a police report from someone who's mentally ill because they're mentally ill. So therefore, it's perfectly legal for you to assault someone who's considered mentally ill. You like those bunny ears? Yeah. We can change this, but you have to stop being a pussy. You have to stop turning a blind eye when it happens to somebody else. There's a guy named Russell Huggins, and he helped me out as far as finances go more than anybody. And I mean that literally more than anybody. When I was trying to keep my storage facility, because it had a lot of tools in it, it had everything that I'd accumulated that I had out at my shop when me and Josh Hughes got kicked out of there for Josh Hughes staying the night there when he wasn't supposed to and staying up all night playing video games. Russell Huggins literally gave me $800. I had never had more than a $5 loan before this, and Russell Huggins gave me $800 to pay up my bill because Josh wasn't. Now, when I was in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and if you guys look up actually, I'll see if I can find that on here now while I'm talking to y'all. When Ray Ray wasn't able to keep her word because her husband's a jackass, that wasn't my decision. That wasn't Rihanna's decision. That was Ryan's decision. Ryan is her soon to be ex or now current ex, I don't know which. Let me see, my channel. Ray. Now it starts off with her screaming at me. Copy link address, and we'll put it over here in the comment section on the side. This is the conversation between me and Ray. The police did everything that they could to prevent us from talking to each other. If I go back to speak with Rayanna, then I'm breaking the law. If I do what it is that Rayanna asked me to do in this conversation, then they will arrest me for breaking the law. Meanwhile, they broke the law repeatedly. Of course, the police broke the law. Who's going to stop them? Without someone in your corner, they can do whatever the fuck they want. Now, that's why it's important to post this up there. Rayanna, even knowing that there's a protection order in place that says we're not supposed to talk to each other, we're not supposed to have contact with each other, she still wants me to go to Wyoming. Her current boyfriend just bought 40 acres and she wants me to go there. Now, I already know that she could relapse at any point in time, and that would be a negative thing for me. I would be trapped in the very same state where, well, these officers outright lied. But also, Rayanna says that those officers outright lied, that I didn't break anything. But I pled guilty to it. Do you know why? Because the computer that I'm using right now, that has a whole shit ton of evidence on it, they illegally stole from me. Now, maybe I should try to find that as well. We'll go to videos, and God, this makes it so much easier having this computer because I don't have to, nope, that's the one from Deputy Hahn and 2 other deputies. This one I can make a live video. I can make an hour-long video. I can't do that on my phone. My phone, I'm lucky if I erase everything off of it, I might be able to get a 15 or 20-minute video out of it. Where the hell is it? Here it is. Copy link address, and we'll post that shit here too. Paste. This is the incident that happened there in Wyoming. Now, those guys actually sent evidence. My public pretender there actually sent the evidence for my court date. I haven't looked through it yet. But the police, they outright lied. You can tell that what the police wrote down and what Rayanna had to say, they don't match up. Rayanna also is explaining in that video the very same things that I've been explaining to you about the scenarios with Ray. The fact that she was feeding those kids. The fact that it wasn't my choice or hers for her husband, ex-husband, to act the way that he was. That I didn't break things in that store. I threw a coffee cup at the floor. She had to mop it up, but that's not $1,500 worth of damages. If that coffee is going to ruin the floor, then that mop would ruin that floor just as easily. And they didn't accuse me of ruining the floor. They accused me of ruining a credit card machine. That's called fleecing the American public. That's either the owners of Tiger Mark trying to get free shit or police officers doing everything in their power to prevent me from having an honest day in court. I don't care which, it was wrong either way. Brianna wants me to go to Wyoming, and I am fine with that. I am fine with her wanting that. But the thing is, she hasn't been with this guy for very long, and they are one argument away from her being homeless, from her having nothing. She sold her camper. She got into a car accident having a seizure, and she does have seizures over her alcoholism. When I said I was having to deal with alcoholics, I meant it, and she at least admits it, whereas Shannon Alvarado wouldn't. Brianna at least admits that her alcoholism affected those around her, whereas Shannon Alvarado wouldn't. Brett Roloff was on methamphetamines, and his girlfriend Amber as well. Now, his current stalker, her name is, I believe, Crystal, and she's obviously a dope head too. Now, for those of you who are older, I know that you guys, when I say dope, you think marijuana. To the younger folks, when you say dope, they think methamphetamine. See, I've been involved in the drug world for a lot of years, my entire life. I was born into the drug world. I was born the son of Angela K. Wade, a cocaine addict, and Brian David Schwartz, a cocaine dealer. I was taken away from these two people and put into the system. And a lot of the kids that I grew up with had parents that were drug addicts and drug dealers. Most of the people that I grew up with in the system that were raped or beaten, their parents were alcoholics. Why does it shut me down when Shannon Alvarado gets drunk and starts screaming? Why does it shut me down when Rayanna gets drunk and starts screaming? And I know that she's only screaming at those kids because she misses her own kids. And I understand that those two girls are probably the most unruly children I've ever had to deal with. See, when I was babysitting Amy and Andrew Witcher's children, those kids weren't exactly the best behaved, but they listened. They didn't run around telling stories. The only thing that would get them to tell stories is if they thought that mommy and daddy would get in trouble, because they still love their mom and dad. The girl that Andrew Witcher molested, she still loves her mom. But the thing is, just because these people love their parents doesn't mean those parents are not abusive. Now, Amy and Andrew, their kids listen to me extremely well, with the exception of the boy. He had very poor sexual boundaries, and I actually had to quarantine him. I gave him his own side of the room away from the girls because he couldn't stop putting his hands on them. He didn't want them to touch him, but he kept putting his hands all over them. The rules were different for him than they were for these other people. That's the way that I have to deal with most of you. Most of you have a different set of rules than you have for me. You also have family that's in your corner even when you do wrong shit. Like Candace Bondurant did wrong shit, and her mother, Lori, made excuses for her. Lori said that she didn't have time to look at the evidence, but she's got plenty of time to judge me because she didn't look at the evidence, now doesn't she? I'm gonna probably try and get some sleep now. There's no guarantee that's gonna happen. I did want to post a bunch of evidence, but it took me forever up there to find the stuff I was looking for in specific. When I finally found it, I was frozen and the video was over an hour long. Suppose I'll get back to it in the morning. Also, Jen Beebe never called back.